Here we go. Another big win for the Lions as they defeat the Buccaneers 24-9 in dominating fashion. Although it could have been a little better, honestly. Despite having nobody with a pulse left to play corner, the Lions defense was able to dominate the high-flying Buccaneers offense for 60 minutes straight on Monday Night Football at home. Raucous home crowd being able to carry the Lions to another victory. Still haven't lost back-to-back games since like 2022 or something like that. So yeah, coming off a loss, Detroit guaranteed a win under Dan Campbell the past couple of years. Jahmyr Gibbs was able to put the Lions offense on his back, accounting for over 200 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns. It was like either the first or the second play of the game, they throw a little dump off to him. I think it was the second play of the game. They throw a little dump off swing pass to him, and he makes 2 guys miss and just goes right around them, turns this like what was supposed to be like maybe a little loss or maybe a gain of like 3 yards into like 30. So Gibbs was electric in this game from the very get-go. In the second quarter, he also had that 78-yard touchdown run that as soon as the hole opened up between the tackles, you already knew he was gone. It was pretty insane. And he hit like 20 plus miles per hour on the run too, which is one of the fastest so far over the course of the year in all of the league. So Jahmyr Gibbs, he just does that on Monday Night Football, you know. He's like 5-0, averages 1,000,000 yards per game on Monday Night Football. And then Barry Sanders, the man himself, had a tweet earlier where he said that whenever he's in the house, Jahmyr always finds a way to turn it up an extra notch, and that he did in this game. I mean, if it wasn't for Gibbs, I don't know if the Lions would have dominated the Buccaneers quite as they did. I mean, on the first drive of the game, they were able to get that touchdown pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown to get things started. But even on that first drive, things were looking kind of weird for the Lions offense. Like they needed an illegal contact penalty on the Buccaneers to keep the drive alive on a third down. And they got quite a few of those. Like the whistles were actually kind of favoring the Lions a little bit. Baker Mayfield, after the game himself, said it was one of the worst officiated games that he's ever been a part of. I mean, the whistle did go both ways over the course of the game, but yeah, it was definitely odd to see the Lions get a favorable whistle there. But yeah, the game felt like more of a blowout than the final score would indicate, it being 24-9. It felt like it should have been more like 45-9 or something more along those lines. Especially in the first half, the Lions outgained the Buccaneers 261-76 in the first half in terms of yardage, but they only led 14-3 at halftime. Now, it was kind of the Lions definitely had the ball in the Buccaneers zone and should have scored at least like 28 points, I would say, in the first half, if not like 31. Because after they scored the opening drive touchdown, and then they got a stop against the Buccaneers on their opening drive, the Lions had the ball in the Buccaneers' red zone and had it down there on 4th and 2 from like the 10-yard line. And on that 4th and 2 play, they decided to throw a little streak to Isaac Tesla. And it should have been there. It looked like he should have had it. But yeah, there was some contact by the defender that kind of kept him from really running. But anyway, the ball was slightly overthrown, no flag thrown. And just like that, it's a turnover on downs. So on that 4th and 2 play, you definitely want to see them go for the first down more than just the touchdown. But I mean, if you see that favorable coverage, I guess that's when you take the shot there, but you know that it's a little too high risk for me. You know, it's a little too much of a make or break thing. I would have just gone for the first down, or even just kick the field goal there. You know, your defense having dominated them on that first drive and going on to dominate them the rest of the game. You know, you can afford to kick a field goal there, but you know, you don't necessarily know that your defense is going to play so well over the course of the game, especially with all of those injuries that the Lions had in the secondary. All of their opening day starters missing this game. Terrion Arnold, Kirby Joseph, and DJ Reed all injured, and then Brian Branch suspended. But thank God that we at least had Amik Robertson. That dude's like the hidden gem in the Lions secondary. He typically plays slot corner, but here he took on the starting role and he hit it pretty hard from the get-go. On that opening Buccaneers drive, he had a pretty hard hit on a Buccaneers receiver that really set the tone for the secondary for this game. And, they really followed through on it. So credit to the backup secondary here. We had Arthur Mollett, who spent some times with the Saints and the Ravens, I'm pretty sure. And he had Nick Whiteside the second, who was also starting on the opposite side. Pretty sure he's from Saginaw Valley State, one of the local guys, and he played really well. He had a couple pass breakups and almost had an interception, but Arthur Mollett had an interception when he ripped the ball away from K. Dotton, which was a really impressive play. Yeah, those guys played really well, and you even see some Lions fans who are shooting the shit online in chat rooms and stuff, saying that Whiteside should be the starter moving forward, even after Terrion Arnold gets back. But this was one game, and the Buccaneers receivers were all beat up. Like, they were almost as beat up as the Lions secondary, although they did try and play. Mike Evans going out there after recovering from injury, but on a play down the field, he ends up just cracking his shit when he falls back down to the turf. Knocks his head on the turf, lands right on his collarbone. So broken clavicle and a concussion. And yeah, he's done for the year. And it was kind of a shame for the Buccaneers to lose Mike Evans like that, because Mike Evans had some pretty good catches in this game and was, at least giving the Buccaneers offense a good shot at being able to move the ball down the field, considering how inaccurate Baker Mayfield was in this game. But instead, you lose him, your sure-handed future Hall of Fame receiver, who just makes it look so easy going up for some of those contested catches. But you lose him pretty early in the game. And then Ibuka, the rookie phenom, he wasn't looking 100%, trying to play through the injury after coming back off the injury like that. So it was really up to Tez Johnson for the Buccaneers and guys like that. And I mean, Tez Johnson played well, but there just wasn't enough there for the Buccaneers offense, and their offensive line wasn't blocking very well. So Baker Mayfield was getting pressured constantly trying to run around and avoid the rush, and having to throw the ball that way, which, it is going to lead to some pretty inaccurate throws. So credit to the Lions secondary for stepping it up like that. But you also got to consider who they were playing against and the situation there. So, yeah, we'll see how they continue to do coming out of the bye week and when they play the next game in week 9. Now, I don't know if Terrion Arnold will be back at that point, but they'll at least have Branch and Kirby Joseph back there, hopefully. So, yeah, good to know that we have solid depth like that at the secondary, although they tried their best to drop even more guys out there. Rocky Asin went down with an injury during the game, and then I think Mollett was also injured a little bit. So, yeah, they were about to run out, like, the team trainers to play corner out there. So at least they were able to come out of this one unscathed and not lose anybody else. But, yeah, going back to the Lions offense here, the game felt like more of a blowout than the final score would indicate. And, yeah, they had that miscue on the 4th down there. And then on the drive before that, too, Jared Goff had a fumble. So it was kind of hard for them to get a rhythm like that. You fumble on one drive, and then you're able to drive down the field on the next drive, then you stall out like that, give the ball right back to the Buccaneers. So the Lions offense really did their best to keep the Buccaneers in this game. And then even after going up 14-0, the Lions defense forced 2 turnovers, which the Lions offense then turned into a missed field goal and an interception, one which the Buccaneers turned into a field goal of their own. Credit to Jamel Dean on that interception, though. It was a really good veteran play by a veteran corner to be able to pick up Jared Goff. He was like pretending to cover the flat, and then he went up to cover the receiver running the corner, and that's who Goff had. That's who Goff thought was open, so he threw it there. And Dean was able to get that interception, which turned into 3 points for the Buccaneers going into halftime. So you outgain your opponent by over 200 yards in the first half and force 2 turnovers on them. You definitely want to be winning by more than 14-3 there. So Lions offense still sputtering to this day. I mean, the Buccaneers defense is good, so that's to be expected. But still, if you're coming out and you're dominating your opponent like that, you definitely need to keep taking it to them and not look weird and out of rhythm. Like, besides the big plays, there wasn't a whole lot going on for the Lions offense in this game, which is still a little bit of a concern. I mean, John Morton showed that he can call some plays and they can score a lot of points, but they've still had an issue with consistency all season. Like during the Bengals game, they ran out in front of the Bengals, but then the offense kind of slowed down a little bit after that, and the defense started giving up some big plays. So, you still, I don't know if they've played as much of a complete game yet this year as you really want them to if you're going to be this big contender like we believe that they are. I mean, there's still a lot of season to play, but yeah, I mean the Browns game they dominated, but that was kind of a bad opponent. Like the Browns have a good defense, but at the time the receivers weren't playing very well, so Joe Flacco was by himself. But now that he's on the Bengals and he has 2 incredible receivers, he's playing really well. So when we asked that question earlier after the Browns game, whether it was that Joe Flacco truly was washed or if he just didn't have any receivers, well, it was the latter. Good for Joe Flacco. Good for him being able to resurrect his career here. I guess every year he just needs to switch teams to somebody who's truly desperate enough, because he gets the magic going when he joins a new team, kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick, I guess. But if he stays too long in one place, the magic kind of gets ruined. So I guess that's where Joe Flacco is right now. Then, they did dominate the Ravens pretty well, being up 38-24 late until they gave up that garbage time touchdown. And then the Bears, that Bears game was pretty good. But yeah, but against the big quality opponents, the Packers, obviously, we've talked enough about that one and how that game went. Then you had the Chiefs, and the Lions had their chances in that game, but they just weren't able to put them away. And when they had the chance, when they took the lead, they were up 10-6 with the ball, but they weren't able to do anything with it. And then the Chiefs took it, scored, halftime, scored again, and the game was over. But coming up, at home against the Vikings, Week 9, at Commanders, at Eagles, at home against the Giants. The Vikings are a tough team. They might play the Lions tight, but I think that we're definitely better than them. Especially being at home, I think that'll be a pretty solid win. At Commanders, that one could be scary, but I don't know. The Commanders aren't playing very well, and Jaden Daniels has been hurt and stuff, so I think it's continued sophomore slump. Then at the Eagles, that's going to be a crazy one. Sunday Night Football. I mean, the Eagles have shown that they are vulnerable, to say the least, and that's one that I really hope that the Lions would be able to win. That'll be the big test. That'll really anoint the Lions as true contenders if they're able to win in Philadelphia. And then at home against the Giants, that could be a tough one too, with the Giants playing as well as they are. I think the Lions pull away late in that one, but I think that the Giants could stick around longer than people might think. Depending on what the number is, you might take the Giants to cover there. I mean, the number might get pretty high. Like, that gets up to 7.5, I might take the Giants plus the points. Or if it's 9.5 or 10, that's a good number for them. But then they'll have the short turnaround at home against the Packers on Thanksgiving. Now, it is fortunate that the Lions have these 3 straight home games there. So, you're at home against the Giants, then you stay at home for Thanksgiving, and you stay at home again for the Thursday after. But, the Packers at home on Thanksgiving, that's always a tough one. I really hope that Dan Campbell is able to get a Thanksgiving win streak going. Last year, he was able to win his first ever career game on Thanksgiving after that all-time coaching gaffe by Matt Eberflus. But yeah, I was looking back at the history recently, and the Lions did win 4 straight on Thanksgiving from like, it was like 14, 15, 16, and 17. They won all those games, which is which is pretty crazy for them. So hopefully Dan Campbell can get a little win streak going and beat the Packers here, because the Packers are such pretenders right now, man. That tie is doing them so much in the standings. Technically they're in first place in the NFC North because of that stupid tie, even though the Lions have more wins. Even just looking at it makes me sick. So yeah, the Buccaneers receivers were not 100%. Puka looked limited. They were both game times. They just have to spend the whole week. This is questionable. Tampa did score that touchdown on the opening possession of the second half, which gave me a little reason to be nervous, because I thought, oh shit, here we go. This is when the Buccaneers make a little run for it. But no, the Lions were able to take the next possession and score to make it 21-9, and the Buccaneers never recovered. The Lions played lights out defense down the stretch, which was really good. Really good to see. Kelvin Shepard, great defensive coordinator. The coaching staff's gonna get the guys fired up anyway. With all those guys down, it did it all last year, only losing 2 games while only having half a defense for half the season. But yeah, at their best, the Lions are the most dominant team in the NFC. They could still be the best team in the NFL. Had they beaten the Chiefs, I think they definitely would be the number 1 team in the NFL. But the Colts could be the best team in the AFC for all we know, and the Chiefs are playing really well now, so you could say that they're the best team in the AFC. But I think that the Lions have the NFC right now. I don't think anybody really wants to play us all that badly. We got elite weapons on offense and unlimited big playability. Any one of these guys can take it to the house on one play. It's just a matter of the offense being consistent and putting together solid drives. You don't have to score on every possession, but don't go 3 and out and stuff. We got all these players. The offensive line is still a little bit of a concern, but they should get better as the year goes on, especially with rookies like Tate Ratledge, as they keep trying to learn the ways. But it was good to have Taylor Decker back, and then Sewell, of course, doing his thing. Sewell did have a false start penalty in this one, which was pretty nuts. But yeah, what the Lions need in this upcoming stretch of games is that consistency on offense and maintaining that intensity and some health on defense. We gotta have our good players stay healthy here. But our offense should not feel so limited at times. Some of it comes down to execution, and some of it comes down to play calling. Hopefully down the stretch to get it all figured out so that they can be really strong when it matters the most, and we'll be back to winning playoff games like that. But yeah, definitely need some more consistency and some more confidence on that side of the ball. And before this game, I was kind of scared because the Buccaneers are still a good team. They were the number 1 seed in the NFC for a little while, but for whatever reason, we're able to take care of the Buccaneers pretty well recently. There was that one loss at home that we kind of gave up last year, one of our 2 losses. But yeah, then that playoff game we beat them, and then there was another game before that too where we beat the Buccaneers. So yeah, good looking win. Could have been better. Don't want to get too greedy, but yeah, definitely could have seen a little more from the Lions here. But going into the bye week, let's get healthy and let's get cracking some more.